what's up guys, Jerry here, aka Barnacules, and today we're going to be talking about camera equipment and why I use this and why I'm considering not upgrading from it. Well, my buddy Graham from Volair Media just brought over his new toy that he just purchased today. I didn't plan on making this video. Honestly, I don't even think you planned on buying the camera, right? So anyways, he got it. It's called a Red Raven. The total cost was about $12,000, not including a lens, right? That was just to get the stuff to make it like a red light flash. So we figured that we'd unbox it, take a look at it, and do kind of a comparison and contrast between the cheaper alternatives to making YouTube videos, which is what I use, versus the expensive stuff that the production guys like Volair Media use and fly on their drones. And I thought it'd be kind of a funny comparison and contrast, because who else would be nuts enough to compare a Sony handycam to a $12,000 Red camera? So the cameras that I shoot with primarily here in the Nerd Cave are the Sony FDR AX33, which I'm holding in my hands right now, and the AX53. Now both of these cameras are very similar. The AX53 just has a little bit better light handling, a couple of other features. They're for all intents and purposes damn near the same camera. But they have build quality issues. They're very, very cheap. Both the tripod mounts are popping out of these, and you have to put epoxy on them to keep them from ripping out of the bottom of the camera. Sony really gives zero shits about any of this. They just want the consumers to buy this cheap camera that has actually a pretty decent sensor in it. And one of the cool things is it's a gimbal stabilized sensor. One of the things I really love about these cameras is that the little guy inside of there moves independently so you can have nice, smooth, handheld video. And I really like that feature on this camera. Plus, you can get the extended battery packs, which are really cheap. I think for these battery packs, I paid like $30, and they go for about 4 to 6 hours, depending on what you're recording. They're a 4K capable camera, but they only do 30 frames per second. But they do 1080 at 60, and those are the two big formats right now. However, if you are into cinematography and you want to take it to the next level, you're going to spend $12,000 on one of these bad boys. Oh, this right here comes in a nano case. Yeah, he didn't put it in this case. This is the case that it actually came in. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a look at what $12,000 gets you, right? With the lens, what are we talking? Probably $14,000, $15,000? My STI is worth less than this camera is. You can actually buy my car for cheaper than this camera costs. As a matter of fact, the memory card for this camera costs more than my entire camera with the memory card and the battery and all the accessories to charge it and use it. It's actually pretty funny. All right, let's go ahead and pull it out.
Ladies.
This right here is the Red Raven, which has the Dragon 4.5K sensor, which I'm confused because it's a Red Dragon, but it's a Raven. So maybe one of you guys can explain that to me, but I can tell you right now, it weighs about as much as a brick shit house. This thing is completely made out of metal. I'm guessing it's aluminum, but it sure as hell doesn't feel like it by how heavy it is. You can tell that it was built to be durable and rugged, unlike my little piece of shit here, where you drop it, I don't know, 75 times or so, it's done for. If I run over this with my car, it's another $700 for this one, or about $900 for the, or about $800 actually. It's about $800 for the FDR AX53, and I think you get these for about $600 now, actually, the AX33. So that's how much I'm out if I destroy the entire camera. That's everything, total loss. This guy, on the other hand, just the body of the camera. If I run this over with my car with nothing else attached to it, I'm out, what, $8,000? Something like that, for just the body of this thing. But luckily they built it so well that I'm pretty sure I could run this over with my car and it probably would survive. We're not gonna put that to the test though. So they call this the brain, guys, because, you know, they're not like regular cameras where, you know, it's a camera. This comes in pieces. So if you go into your local camera dealership and you're like, hey guys, I would like a Red camera, they're gonna hand you one of these. You're gonna go home and be like, I really don't know what to do with this because there's a button. There's a place that appears to put a battery on there. Do you even have to buy the thing to put the battery on? Is that, even this is a component, guys. You have to buy all the modules. You can't even hook an XLR microphone to this. This has the same microphone capabilities as this, except for this technically has a microphone built into it. This does not. But this has a 1/8 inch mini jack for $12,000. You get an eighth inch mini jack input for audio, because if you want XLR, you got to pay, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars for another module that goes on the side of this that makes it XLR. Linus Tech Tips did an amazing video on just how ridiculous Red is with its components and how proprietary it is. We even did a test today with the memory card, and let's talk about the memory card here for a second, guys. So this is the memory card. Yeah, it says Red on it. This memory card is nearly $1,000 for 128 gigabytes. That's it. It's metal. It's hard, it's heavy. So the USB reader that this plugs into, the dock that basically just takes this little SATA connector that's been messed with and makes it USB 3, cost $200, and the read speed on it was only about 350 megabytes per second. Now granted, this is much higher speed than that when it's inside of the camera, but still. My problem with it is you can't just put an SSD on the camera, you can't just use high-speed SD memory cards. Like most other cameras, Red's like, no, you gotta use our metal memory cards. So I have a little bit of a problem with that personally, but again, if you're gonna be a professional, you have to have a Red. As a matter of fact, I kind of got pulled in by their marketing too. I wanted a Red. When I was at NAB for 5 minutes, I'm in their booth and I'm already like begging to be like, their marketing department is like voodoo scientists, man. It's crazy. Yeah, look at this. I can put a lens on my camera too. So there's my wide angle lens. You see that? That wide angle lens only costs $19. So this entire camera costs less than the one memory card for this. The lens for this that you're using, what is that, 1,500, 2,000, something like that for the Canon glass? Yeah, this is set up for Canon glass. That's another module that has to be put on there. And the memory card that's in this is the same size as this. This is 128 gigs, this is 128 gigs. So which would you rather have? A single memory card or an entire camera that you can run over with your car and just replace for the cost of one Red memory card? Actually, that's a dumb question, because if you're like Steven Spielberg, you're not gonna shoot your video on a shitty little handycam. Like, even if it had the greatest video quality on earth, could you really go to a movie publishing house and be like, hey guys, I shot this on a handycam? They would laugh you out of the building. But anyways, there we go. We got the camera, we got the memory card. Okay, so what else do we need to operate this beast? Well, you need a lens. This one uses Canon lenses. So this right here is a 24 to 105 ES lens, so it's image stabilized inside, but it doesn't have near the stabilization that this does. The gimbal in this will run circles around this, because this has got very mild image stabilization. This has gimbal stabilization. You can be running like this and keep the image nice and still. This, however, though, is going to get a lot more light. If you're shooting in the dark or shooting in low light, this is the crappiest camera you will ever use. This is not good for shooting in low light. You're going to have noise. But let's be honest, I shoot videos for YouTube. I'm not shooting videos that are being beamed down from satellite dishes in some uncompressed format to some guy's 8K freaking HDR television. No, you guys are watching this on your cell phone sitting on the shitter. So that's why I'm still kind of thinking that this is the way to go. All right, what else do we got? So the screen must have come with it, because you can't see what's going on with the camera without a screen, right? You have to have some kind of viewfinder. Did this come with it?
You gotta pay for the screen.
You gotta pay for the screen. How much is the screen?
It was a lot.
So the screen costs a lot of money, and it's basically a screen with just a proprietary pinout. They could have put an HDMI on it.
They could have.
There could have been an HDMI right on the side. You could put it anywhere you want, but no. This is a module that you have to actually put right here and screw into the camera. Actually, I think it goes this way.
Yeah.
And you screw that onto the camera, and now you have a screen on your camera. Now, the screen is also built like a brick shit house. I mean, everything on this thing is metal. I'll give you that. The Red is the most overbuilt piece of equipment I've ever seen. It actually feels more like farm equipment than it does an actual camera. So I'll give it that. And you are going to be flying it on a drone, so having something durable is actually pretty good idea for what you're going to be doing. Because let's be honest, drones, they do fail. They do crash. And if you can get away with just scuffing the body versus replacing the whole camera, that's a good idea. So for you, this makes sense. For Volair Media, this makes sense. For Barnacules Nerdgasm, not so much. And then we got this. This surely came with it, though, right? Okay, so at least they give you a handle for it that screws on top. And of course, it's all made out of like ballistic grade frickin' adamantium or whatever. So you put that on there, and then you got a handle. But the problem is the handle's tiny. Look how tiny this handle is. I don't have huge hands, guys. It's a 3-finger grab. This camera is very heavy. This is not gonna be comfortable carrying around this little 3-finger grab. And you know why it's a 3-finger grab? Because when you put the battery on it, oh yeah, let's talk about the battery. All right, so to give you an idea, here's the battery, and this is the large battery for my camera. This is twice or 3 times the size of the normal battery that comes with my little camera, okay? This is the big battery that you buy for the Red, right here. So you can kind of see there's a size difference here. The runtime on mine is actually longer, because my camera consumes so much less energy than this one does, because this is capable of doing 4K at 240 or is it 120? This can do 4K at 120 and 1080p at 240, right?
2K at 240.
So 2K at 240, so better than 1080 at 240. Holy crap, it can do that slow motion, and it can do it continuously to the memory card. This thing is a powerhouse. If you're shooting cinema video that's future-proof, that's what you'd want to get this for, not for shooting YouTube videos. And I had to get that through my thick skull. And you guys are watching me right now. This is actually a Sony FDR AX53 camera with an MKE 440 stereo shotgun microphone on top of it from Sennheiser. That's all it is. There's nothing special here. The entire camera with the microphone and everything, you're probably looking $1,300 for everything, to shoot everything. And plus it's got a lens on it that can zoom way the hell in and zoom way the hell out. You don't have to change a bunch of glass. Now again, if you're a professional, you're gonna wanna change the glass because that's how you get the best image quality. Do I care about that? No, it's YouTube. You're watching this on the toilet, so why would you care? Anyways, let's go ahead and put the battery on this thing. So it's a V mount, so let's stick it on there. Okay, so now we've upped the weight significantly. All right, so now let's take the handle. Now, if you put the handle on here, you now see why it's a 3-finger handle. Because you got a battery in the way. And why couldn't they just make the handle taller and go back further? I don't understand how that's a solution. It's very weird. Red, if you're watching this, please make longer handles, okay? And if you do, please send one to Volair Media. Here, let's go ahead and assemble it, okay? You guys to get the true experience here, let's go, and you have to have a hex key to do it. You know, hey, kudos to Red for not having a proprietary tool to do this, you know? With as proprietary as their stuff is, I thought for sure that they were gonna invent their own kind of star drive bit that was like one extra star to make this possible. Oh, and by the way, Red, for this kind of money, they do send you a tool that you can use. It's a little star key right here, but it doesn't work on all the stuff. It only works on some of the stuff. I don't get it. I don't get it, Red! All right, so there you go. So now you got, and this whole unit right here, I'm gonna say, that's a good 8 or 10 pounds. We don't even have a lens on it yet. All right, so we're gonna go ahead now to put the lens on. You have to actually undo this clutch that holds the lens on the front of it, and then you gotta push the button and rotate the lens cap at the same time. It's like you need like 14 hands to do this. There we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Canon lens, we're gonna drop it right here on top. Now to this camera's credit, it does actually use the autofocus and all the features of the lens, the EF, and even identifies it for what it is, which I thought was really cool. And I do like the fact that it has a clutch so you don't accidentally bump the button and disengage the lens. So now we've gone up to probably 11 or 12 pounds without the screen. So let's go ahead and put the screen on it. Now, because the case is set up the way it is, you can't leave it assembled in the case. You have to take it apart each time you transport it and put it back together on site. Just so you know. Oh, and now we need the special tool to put the screen on. Everything's just little pogo pins like you'd find on any like Xerox printing machine from the 80s. Nothing special. It's got lots of hard mounts on it for attaching stuff, though. That's one thing I will give this camera, is it is designed like a transformer, guys. So now we've almost finished the assembly. Whew! It's a lot of work to put together a camera. So now we have the handle. We have the screen on top, which the handle pretty much blocks half the time. So you gotta put the screen down like that so you can kind of see what's going on there. It's got a bunch of holes for putting accessories and stuff on, but they're all gonna block the screen, which we found out earlier when we tried to put a microphone on it. So that's not very good. So you gotta put all kinds of little spidery doohickeys and fandangle things, but who cares? You guys are gonna put this on a drone. They're gonna put it on a drone, so they don't really care about any of this. But me using somebody's camera, and I can't flip it around. How am I gonna vlog with this thing when I can't see the screen? You can't. Let me show you guys something. My little cheap $1,000 rig or whatever, I can flip this up and flip that around. Like that. Look, see? So I can see myself. And it weighs, I don't know, maybe 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds, soaking wet. I mean, I love it. I love these little things. This right here is gonna shoot 4K at 120 frames per second. It's gonna shoot 2K at 240 frames per second. It's gonna shoot 1080p at who God knows how many frames per second. It's got 2 giant fans on the top to cool the massive processors that are inside of it that allow it to process that amount of data. And your $1,000 128 meg SSD card trapped in a metal shell here is going to allow you to record all that, and then you can buy the dock for your computer for another $200 or whatever that allows you to transfer it to the computer. You're going to have full control over the raw footage. You're not going to have that with this. This is going to do raw footage. All you're going to get is H.264 footage that you can basically upload straight to YouTube. You can't upload anything from this camera straight to YouTube. You have to post-process everything off of it. Also, it's going to require a lot of storage and a really powerful computer to edit the videos. But don't get me wrong. The video quality that you get out of this is going to be so much better than this in the end. It's going to be a night and day difference. If I was to sit here, I'd be lying to you if I told you I could shoot the same quality of video on this as I could on this in the same scenario, same situation, with the knowledge of how to use this. Now, granted, this, you just put it on auto and it shoots the best it possibly can. This, you have to know every single manual little step. It might help you with autofocus a little, it might help you with some of the things, but there is no green square setting on this camera. But I will tell you one thing, holding this makes me feel like I got a big like, I don't know what it is, just the weight of this thing, Graham. I feel like my penis is of an unreasonable size. I feel like if I lean forward, I would effectively be a tripod. I mean, is it obvious? I'm just saying, this camera makes me feel like a man. It is so freaking overbuilt. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to buy one of these. I do. Reason, but that's just the kid in me. It's so massive, it's so big, it's so heavy. And that's just it. I got friends with this stuff, right? I'm just going to borrow their camera if I want to do something really crazy. For shooting slow-mo video, absolutely amazing. If you want to shoot in low light and you want to shoot the next Spielberg movie, yes. Actually, Spielberg probably thinks this is cheap as crap, actually. He probably shoots on the 8K, like $50,000 body, right? Or brain. So this is the entry level. This is the poor people camera. And you could buy probably 16 or 18 of these for the cost of one of these. They both do 4K, okay? They both do 1080p. They both do 1080 60, they both do 4K 30. This just does way higher frames per second, so you're gonna do slow-mo, you're gonna have much more cinematic things. This has interchangeable glass, so you can put Cine lenses on it and everything like that. It takes forever to boot up when you start it up. This thing, you just open the screen and hit record and you're going. Like there's no boot up time hardly at all on this. This one you have to be boot up and ready to go. This thing will heat you if it's cold outside. It does blow a crap load of heat out of the vents on the bottom. Even with all the cool little doohickeys like the SDI out on the side here and the control and the sync switches, and it's got an HDMI and a USB, and you can put N number of other modules on it and exponentially build the brain out bigger and bigger and bigger with everything you could possibly want with XLR and everything. That is really amazing, but for the price point, I think I'm gonna stay the hell away from red. I don't think red is for me. I think red is for when I want to borrow stuff from Volair that's fully insured. But I have to say, guys, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to stick with my little crappy Sony FDR AX53 and 33 as a secondary camera. Because if I need wide angle, I can put a crappy little $20 lens on it and it does the job. I have gimbal stabilization so I can hand hold it. I don't have to have all those crazy slider rigs and all the fancy stuff that all the big tech YouTubers have with their little spinners and their little gyros. This is my steady shot right here. This is like B-roll. Done. I like that. This is nice. I also like that the battery runs for absolutely ever and weighs nothing. I can put 5 of these in my bag and I don't have to worry about leaving the camera on between shoots. I like the fact that if something interesting's happened, I can just go, bam, sup guys, how's it going? Boom, done. With the red, you have to turn it on, go take a shit, come out, make a sandwich, do some coffee, boom, then it's booted up. You're ready to go. Then you got to hit the record button, record it, and then you got to eject the media. There ain't no eject media on this. When the red light stops flashing, you push it and it pops out and you're done. This is why you will never see a comparison between a red cinema camera and my shitty little Sony handycam. You're never going to see this anywhere else on YouTube because it's asinine to compare these two things because they're in completely different classes. But I get so many people, and I've even been pulled into this myself, that think that if they're doing YouTube and they need to up their game, they need better equipment, they need higher end professional equipment. I'm not saying that don't do that if you're into the cinema stuff and you're into learning how photography works and how videography works and how lighting works and all that stuff. Granted, go get the coolest freaking camera you can. It is going to, in the end, make a better picture. But if you're like me and you're more about the content and you just want to create the video and you just want to get her done, under $1,000, all in, and you're good to go. So Sony Handycam, you win in the shootout between the Red Raven. The Red Raven has lost this shootout, but I will say this. If you ran over this with a car, it's going to break. If you drop it on the carpet, it's going to break. If it falls off the edge of your table, it's going to break. But the good news is little pieces will break off, but it will still miraculously work. That's one of the things I like about this, is it's just everything on it's broken, stickers are missing, little things popping out of the bottom is all cracked, but it still works. It's got a hot shoot to mount stuff on. You don't have to like block your screen or anything. You can shoot upward like this, you can shoot downward like this. It's everything you need in a small package. It'll do 4K. Honestly, I don't need anything more. So I finally made up my mind. I'm gonna stick with my little Sony handycams or something very similar to it moving forward, because that way I don't have to worry about breaking my equipment. If I dropped this on a shoot, I would shit my pants and cry myself to sleep. If I drop this on the shoot, I'm just gonna cuss a lot. And then I'm gonna go grab my other one because I have 2 of them, because I can afford to have 2 of them. I cannot afford to have 2 of those unless I like commit insurance fraud. If I committed insurance fraud, then I could go get the second one. I'd be like, oh guys, my drone crashed into the mountain. Oh God, I can't find the debris because it was such a big fire. That's why I'd go with this, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments. Also, if you guys have any kind of comparisons that I missed here, please leave those down in the comments. You can also come over and tweet me. I'm at Barnacules over on Twitter. Also, I do a morning show over on Twitch TV called Morning Coffee with Barnacules. It's every day, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's GMT -8 for you people that can't figure it out. And I just rant about stuff and do whatever. It's nothing like my YouTube channel at all. Come and check it out, guys. And stay tuned for more technology videos. Because, guys, I'm going to shoot videos when I feel like it and upload them when I feel like it. And that's just how it's going to be. So, I'm just kidding. I love you guys.